Hey folks, Jonathan here. Had to tow my own truck in. I guess the only thing worse than that was if I had to get somebody else to tow it in for me, but we had a water pump just come to pieces all of a sudden. No leaks, no anything, but bearing or whatever went out into the bush, and I'm not sure what's in it, but you know, and the fan went to wobbling and the driver heard it, thank goodness, and pulled over and seen the water coming out, so I went and towed him in. We've got to put a water pump on this thing, and the shameful thing is for, you know, they offer a rebuilt water pump, but a new water pump for this engine is $360. And you know, you would think that a water pump that was expensive would at least be easy to put on, but this one's not only expensive, it's a real pain. So we've actually got to take the entire hood off. We're going to set it off, and then we'll actually set the radiator out completely, and then that way we can get to the front of the engine. If not, we're going to be fighting everything and trying to get into it. So sometimes you got to work on things you don't want to work on, but I'd much rather be working on the rotator. But we're going to go ahead and get this knocked out. Now I'll film a few things and show you on the way. I'm going to go ahead and get the hood and radiator off first. I'll get to where we can get in there to it and get all these intercooler lines off, and it'll take the intercooler lines off, all the radiator hoses, you know, these bars up here, support bars, the hood cables, the wiring, which, you know, is bolted in. And I've had this one apart before. I've had the engine out and a few other things over the years, but put a clutch in it one time, but I think I pulled the transmission for that. It's a lot easier, but either way, I'll get her pulled down, and I'll show you when I get down to that water pump in there. Anyway, it's nice and cold too. You can see I got my gloves on, so we'll get her done. Show you more. Okay folks, we've got all this hanging, just left everything on it and set it all off in one piece and with the forklift, and we are going to go ahead and get the water pump. As you can see, it's about as wore out as they come. I don't know how he made it wear out like that, but Tim was driving it, so. Alright, gotta go to town and get the new one. We'll get her on there. Bye. Okay folks, the fan was actually loose on it. I think that's proof that Tim was into this thing and messed that water pump up on purpose so he wouldn't have to tow. But you can hear it, don't sound too good. You didn't do that on purpose, did you, Tim?
No. I might have.
Alright buddy. Okay folks, we've got our new pump here, we've got our new coolant filter, and of course there's our old pump. Still got to take all the fittings off of it for the heater hose and such, and thermostat and everything, but we've got it off. But while I had this thing down, well, first you can see where that water pump had rubbed in there, which didn't really hurt anything, just scratched it up. It's not going to be an issue. The thing I wanted to do is, you can see this is the oil cooler on these, and as these things, the O-rings get old, these things will leak when they're cold, and when it warms up it'll quit leaking. And what happens is these big O-rings just, well, you can see that one split. They just get old and hard, and I wanted to go ahead and replace them. And it's not a cheap kit, believe it or not. $58 for 4 O-rings and 2 gaskets, and which I thought's kind of crazy, but it is what it is. So I'm having a hell of a time getting this out. You know, the front section I finally got off. The back, it's sticking on real hard. I'm gonna have to come up with some idea to pull that thing apart, and because I've pried on it some, but I'm afraid I'll break the lip off of it, and so I'm gonna come up with something to get that off and get the new O-rings on, get this back together, and then I can get the water pump back on it back together. But anyway, that's where I stand on this, and I'll show you more shortly. Alright folks, we've got our oil cooler rebuilt. Got our water pump on. They're not rebuilt, but I guess new seals and stuff in it. But got our water pump on, and it is a new water pump, not a rebuilt one, so remanufactured. So Should last. It's got a lifetime warranty, but we'll see how that goes. I wanted to show you one more thing here. I don't think I showed you the wrench when I was taking this apart, but you know, these things are really hard to get the bolt off of, because you know that pulley will turn so much. But this is the wrench that I had made, and this is what the wrench does. It just slides over these bolts and actually locks the bolts, so you can get a wrench on this section and turn it off. And I mean, it's not anything, it's definitely not a fancy wrench. This is just an old piece of scrap I had laying, and it was already this shape, and I just cut the square out real quick with the torch. And but without that, you know, sometimes it's hard or almost impossible to you know, to get your fan loose. And if anybody needs to know, this does turn righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I don't know how the Fords are, don't get me wrong, but the International, running on the back side of the belt, and that's the way they go on. And we got our new water filter on, a coolant filter, and we are just about ready. I'm going to put the fan on, and then I'm going to go ahead and set the radiator and stuff back on it, and we'll be ready to hook everything up, get the front end back on it, and get this thing back on the road. Show you more. Alright folks, we got it back together and sit here and let me run a little while. Okay folks, we've got this thing all the way back together and hood back on it, everything's good to go. Hood, putting it on, taking it off, well, the hood and the radiator and all that, you're looking at about an hour job per, you know, hour to take it off, hour to put it back on. It's well worth it though. If you're trying to get to that water pump, as big as that water pump is, you know, it's about impossible. So anyway, this one's done. We'll hopefully can get on the 4-wheel drive now and the rotator and see what we can get done. But appreciate everybody watching, subscribing and commenting and liking. Till next time, bye.